Let's go to Grok really quick. Let's just see what Grok says, and then we'll get the next thing going. Yep, go ahead. All right. The concept of testing a partner in a relationship can be quite nuanced depending on the methods and intentions behind the test. Here's a balanced perspective. Sometimes small ethical tests can reveal how a partner might handle certain situations like honesty or loyalty. Observing how they react to a situation where they could easily lie or cheat but choosing not to can be telling of their character. Some tests are more about creating scenarios where communication is encouraged. For example, discussing hypothetical situations. Cons of testing, let's scroll down a bit. Regularly testing a partner can erode trust. If the partner finds out they're being tested, it might lead to feelings of betrayal or manipulation, which can damage the relationship's foundation. Manipulative behavior, intentionally setting up scenarios to trick or trap someone, can be manipulative. Healthy relationships are based on trust, not on constant vigilance or proving one's worth. Insecurity, frequent testing might reflect one's insecurities rather than any actual problem with the partner's behavior. This can lead to a toxic cycle where no amount of testing will ever reassure the tester. So I do actually have a couple follow-ups on this here. So would you guys be upset, or would you be upset, since you did the loyalty test, if you got loyalty tested and you passed, but you found out that you got tested?
I always advocate for like healthy communication beforehand, and with him, I did ask him like, are you talking to any girls? Do you like any girls? And he said no, but I didn't believe him. So for me is if I told him the truth about me not talking to other guys, then I guess it really depends if I lied to him or not.
Okay, I have. Well, I don't know if this, maybe Andrew can let me know what he thinks about this argument, but would any of you object, let's say you were married to a guy and he wanted to, you had kids with him, and he wanted absolute certainty that the kids were his, he asked you for a paternity test. So this is your husband. You guys have been dating for years, you got kids together, maybe even you're married, whatever. Would you be offended if he asked you for a paternity test?
I would say yes, because it shows that he doesn't trust me. Because I feel like at that stage in marriage, it's like, if you don't trust me, then you shouldn't be with me.
Yeah, I'd be offended. And I think it would break something for sure. I'm not saying I wouldn't do it, but I think that would mean there are other issues, like there is something to talk about. But yeah,
so
I'd be offended.
refuse the paternity test?
No, I said I'm not sure I would refuse it, but I think it would break something because the trust is.
Would you refuse it?
I would do it.
You would do it,
show proof.
But it would destroy your trust, right?
Yes.
Okay. Would you do a paternity test?
I would, but I would be upset that he doesn't trust me.
You'd be upset?
Yeah.
Okay, what about you?
Yeah, I'd do it.
Would you be upset at all?
Honestly, thinking about it, not really. Just because at that stage, I know like if I know my partner well and he's like a little bit anxious as a person, I'm just like, okay, you know what? Just to give you peace of mind, here, we'll do it. And then if, he gets his answer and he's like, oh, thank the Lord. And I'm like, okay, like, you just wasted money and time just to do this test. But whatever, like, move on.
Okay. Yeah. Your thoughts?
I would do it, but I do feel if there is no reason to not be trusted, I guess if I gave him a reason for him not to trust me, then I do feel that's valid. But even asking for it, I do feel it's going to ruin a lot for our relationship.
Would it end the relationship if you asked for one?
Emotionally, I'm not sure about.
You got to speak into the microphone.
I'm not sure about like physically end the relationship, but definitely emotionally for me.
Wait, it would emotionally end the...
Like the connection between
Wait, it
us.
wouldn't physically end the relationship? So you guys would still fuck, but you wouldn't be in love? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, if we were having a child together, I wouldn't necessarily... I would try to find an alternative before, I guess, getting a divorce. But in terms of the emotional connection with my husband, it would break that trust agreement between us.
what about you?
I would take it. I don't think I would be that offended, to be honest. I mean, I do think, like a lot of other people mentioned, that it would be kind of a problem that we need to talk about. And I would definitely want to know, where is this coming from, because I don't think those things ever come from nothing. But I would take it.
I take it. I think it's way bigger than just a relationship.
You wouldn't be upset or...
Maybe a little bit, but I don't think I'd be upset after like a while.
Anissa?
I would take it, but it would definitely be like hurtful, and it would also like indicate, like you said, like a deeper issue.
Andrew, any thoughts on the...
Yeah, I'd like to ask a slightly different question. What if he went ahead and took a paternity test without your knowledge, and then you found out about it? Would that upset you?
Yes. It's the same. I mean, it's worse, even.
Yeah, but if he knew that perhaps you'd had discussions about this or something like this. Mm-hmm. If he knew that you were against this, or you thought that somehow this was him bringing your integrity into question, and so in order to spare that, right, this is perhaps he's anxious on his own part or whatever, for whatever reason, he decided that he would just go ahead and do this on his own to establish paternity. In order to not upset you. Isn't he kind of in a catch-22 there? Right? Isn't he in a catch-22? Either he tells you about it and you get super upset, so he has to do that. Yeah. Right? I mean, what are his options at that point?
Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't tell you, I mean, what you don't know doesn't hurt you, but
right.
Like doing anything behind your, communication and trust is that, because even you said like it's bigger than the relationship. I mean, trust is the relationship, in my opinion. If I don't trust someone or my friends, what am I why would I be in the relationship with them? So
yeah, I understand that, but I'm not looking at this from your perspective. I'm trying to look at it from the other person's perspective. So women are always assured of paternity. That's not a thing that they ever have to worry about, right? They know it's their baby because it's coming out of them, right? Yeah. Men are the only ones who are ever going to have doubts about paternity. They're the only ones. Since that is the case, if they wanted the peace of mind of a paternity test, which since almost all forms of family go from father to son, including the last name living on, I understand why men want a paternity established, especially now that we can do it. And for most of human history, we couldn't. I'm not even sure that, I'm not even sure. I don't think that it even has anything to do with whether or not they trust their partner, but rather it's just peace of mind. So if you set up the option of, if you asked me for a paternity test, I would get super offended and I would be upset about it. What choice are you giving them except to go ahead and go behind your back?
Well, the thing is, like, my expectation is that he trusts me.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that it's an indicator he doesn't.
Well, you think somebody would just get a paternity test, even if he truly trusted you? You feel like fully trusts you? Like that wouldn't make.
So, haven't you ever had intuitive doubts about things which were absurd or didn't make any sense or were kind of silly? Like, for instance, maybe you had a dream that your spouse had cheated on you, so you wake up and you start smacking them, right? Mm-hmm. And you call them names, and you're like, how? And he didn't even do anything, right? It was just like some stupid intuition that you had. And then you're like, okay, now hug me and tell me everything's okay. And he's like, I didn't even do anything. I was just sleeping, right? So you can have, I just find it kind of ironic that you can kind of have these silly intuitions and you want those fears assuaged, but when somebody else might have what you consider to be silly intuitions and you can just put their mind at ease, somehow they're the bad guy, that's a trust issue. Why shouldn't the guy look at you, if you wake them up, for instance, and say, oh, I had a dream that you were cheating, now make me feel better? Why shouldn't he say, how could you not trust me? Oh, that's awful. You don't trust me? Now we have a big issue. Why are you having dreams like that? Wouldn't that be horrible to say?
In my opinion, I feel that intuition is very different from intrusive thoughts. So if there's no, I guess, inner knowing or maybe even a sense of rationality when it comes to trusting your partner, then you are just kind of feeding into your own ego or those intrusive thoughts that they're cheating on you, but they have given no reason for you to believe that. Yeah,
but an intrusive thought is irrational, right? It's an irrational fear. There's people who have irrational fears of spiders. They have irrational fear of all sorts of different things, and they're generally not shamed for it, right? So let me give you a couple of examples. An irrational fear of heights, very common. An irrational fear, like raise your hand right now if you're claustrophobic. I'm sure at least one of you at the table is. Yep. Every single time, at least one person will be. What about fear of heights? Raise your hand if you have that. Yep. Okay. So we already have established just right here at the table. There's two people who have irrational fears, right?
Wait, Morgan,
but the thing is what?
What?
Wait, tell Andrew I don't think fear of heights is irrational. That shit's rational. Say that shit.
Brian said that fear of heights is not an irrational fear.
Yeah, what if you're 3
very
feet off the
rational.
ground, dude? What if you're 3 feet off the ground? Then is it irrational? What about 2 feet?
Still.
Capacity for injury.
What if you're enclosed in a room and you just have a window and you look over and it's 50 feet down and you start getting queasy? These are rational fears. And so the thing is like, if that's the case, if you have an irrational fear that a partner could easily take care of for you, like for instance, you have a bad dream. A woman has a bad dream that the guy cheated. This is so common. In fact, there's entire studies on this phenomenon. Entire studies on women having bad dreams and that they don't mean anything and that it's just a silly intuition. But the number one thing that they ask their partner to do when they have that bad dream is to comfort them. That's the number one thing they ask is, listen, I know that this isn't rational, but I'd like you to comfort me anyway.
Yeah.
And so now, can you imagine if you could say, okay, if we can swab your cheek right now, right, these dreams will go away from me forever. Wouldn't you want him to do that?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, right. I mean, wouldn't you want him to? Like, if you had dreams, recurring dreams, which you thought he was cheating, there was no evidence of cheating, right? It's all just inside your head. It's all just intuition. And all he had to do was swab his cheek, and he'd never have that dream again. Wouldn't you want him to?
I mean, I would self-regulate. I feel like that's something I would deal with myself. If there are no signs, it's really just like random and I'm just like, oh, like, and I don't see how that would come up if you don't see signs. I think it would come from you.
Yeah, but you can misinterpret all of the signs, and that could lead to the dream, right? So you could misinterpret everything and have no evidence, be totally wrong. This happens all the time. Why is it okay for you to do that, just not men?
I didn't say that.
Well, that's what I mean, though. Is like men could easily misinterpret all sorts of things or have all sorts of irrational fears.
Yeah.
And if you can just kind of, I can just swab my cheek and put all those fears to bed, it seems really silly to me that when the shoe's on one foot, this irrational fear is kind of fine, but when it's on the other foot, it's not, even though women don't ever have to worry about that fear because they're the birthers of the children. They always have paternity established, just not men. Well, I mean, maternity for them and then paternity for men, right?
Well, some women sometimes don't know either.
Well, they may not know who the father is, but they're going to always know who the mother is.
Oh, yeah.
Fathers though, they don't have that guarantee. Women always have the guarantee that this is my child. So, if you can have those irrational fears and ask that those things be like comforted away because it makes you feel better, I don't understand how that's not just the same thing in reverse.
Well, I mean, it is the same thing, but that's in what I said goes for in reverse as well. If a woman has an irrational fear or something, I think I deal with my shit when I know it's kind of irrational. I don't need somebody else
come on. So you've never, ever in your life had an irrational fear like that and asked somebody to comfort that fear away? Like, you've never had that dream? And you've never been like, okay, I had this dream and I'd like to talk to you about it just because it'll make me feel better, right? Never?
No, not really, no.
No? Okay, well, how many women
But, I mean, I guess it's something, but no, I've never.
How many women here have had dreams that their significant other might be cheating? Yeah, or maybe seeing other people. How many times have you thought perhaps they were, even though they weren't, right? You misread the signs. Can we get a show of hands on that? Yeah, I mean, it happens, right? And so the thing is I think that if you were talking to your girlfriends the next day, you said, listen, I had a bad dream that my significant other was cheating on me. And when I woke up, he said to me, "You know what? I can't believe you don't trust me. You're a rotten person. I can't believe it. That's awful." And then went and slept in another room. I think that they would all be like, "What a jerk." They'd all be like, "What a jerk that he did that to you. What an absolute, all he had to do was give you a hug. All he had to do was tell you it would be okay." But then somehow, though, if they ask for like the most important thing on planet Earth, which is just establishing the paternity of their child, that's some kind of big ask. And that to me is just absurd.
Well, I mean, asking for support, it's not like asking for proof. It's different.
Yeah, it is. It is asking for proof. You're asking them for the same thing. You're asking them to make you feel better about an irrational fear, about something which they know it's not true, right? So your partner, your husband, your boyfriend, whatever, they know they're not cheating on you.
Yeah.
So it's accusatory. It's accusatory to be like, even to tell them, "Oh, I had a bad dream, comfort me." Yeah. That in its own way is accusatory, and it's like, so, but the expectation is like, well, they're men, you know, they should hug us and make us feel better about this stuff. But it's like, when it's on the shoes on the other foot, it's offensive, and how dare they? And I just don't understand.
It's offensive in both ways, but equivalent would be the guy not asking for a test, but asking for comfort. That's the equivalent of the situation. Be like, "Hey, is this me comforting and saying like, yes, he's yours." It's the same thing as like, let's say you said like the dream thing you said.
Oh yeah, sure. But let's say you could give if the girl was having recurring dreams, you said you would expect them to swab their cheek, right? They would get rid of the dreams forever. You know, "Hey, will you just swab the cheek and then my dreams go away forever? All these bad dreams that I have about this irrational fear go away." And you're like, "No, that's not appropriate. That's just silly to me." Of course, every man I could imagine would be like, "Yeah, sure, I don't care."
I doubt it.
Yeah, I don't think they would care.
Highly doubt it.
I don't think they would care. I think that, every man I've ever talked to has woken up with a woman next to him who has said this to him, who has said, "I think you're cheating, blah, 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 blah. And I know it's not rational. It's a bad dream that I had. It's not even true, but I had the bad dream. Make me feel better." That's
you don't think they find it annoying? You don't think they find that annoying? You don't think they feel
I think they find it annoying, but I think that because they, kind of adore the other person, that if she was like, "Oh, if you just swab your cheek with this Q-tip for 30 seconds, I'll never wake you up with this again," I think they would do it. And I don't even think they would complain. I literally don't even think they would complain. I think they'd be like, "Yeah, whatever, I don't care." I think they'd do it while they're brushing their teeth. I don't think they'd care, right?
Can I interject?
Sure.
Honestly, I see your point. I feel like it doesn't matter if you're a man or woman. Everyone needs reassurance, at least. If everyone has some sort of like fears or worries or anxieties, which is completely fine. That's why when, if the guy needs a swab, then to ease his mind, then I'm like, okay, sure. But it does really, again, it serves like a means to just talk about like what's really going on. Because here's the thing too, like I'm someone that's like, "Oh, like, are you like, do you love me?" You know, sometimes I ask like, "Oh, do you still love me?" Like, of course. Like, why do you keep asking? It's just a matter of reassurance. But there is a threshold, I feel like, where the more you are showing that anxiety, the more it indicates to your partner that you don't have enough confidence in the relationship. And I feel like having confidence, having trust again, is something that is.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I buy any of that. That's like a bizarre psychoanalysis. So here's the thing. People are vastly complex. Individuals especially are vastly complex, and their experiences are so different from one another that it's essentially impossible to even determine even the basic things of like what would make one guy a jerk might make another guy endearing. What makes one woman, a brat might make another woman, cute to other people. There's everything from presentation to voice structure to people are just overwhelmingly complex. And so a person can be an extraordinarily nice person. They can be a great person, trust you 100%, and still have an irrational fear. And it's like to be offended by the fact that you can, take that burden off their mind seems insane, because if I give you tons of examples of it happening the opposite way, it's just so common we take it for granted.
At the same time, too, I feel like, again, before you get into a relationship, you are your own person. everyone has at least some sort of line or boundary that they set. Of course, like once or twice, it's okay. Like I'll let it slide, but then again, you gotta work on it. Again, a relationship is something that is between two people, and communicating to work on like obstacles such as like anxiety or going through certain like irrational fears. I feel like that's a beautiful thing to like as a relationship, just to work on each other. But again, if it's not leading to like where it's gonna have any positive progress, like that's where the relationship I feel goes downhill. I feel like again, if we're going back to like the paternity test thing, I don't think it's that deep, but there is some like sort of like bitter feeling, but that again could be definitely worked out. A lot of things could definitely be worked out if there's communication, but I know not a lot of people here, or like a lot of people in general, are like perfect secured relationships. Some people deal with like anxiety.
Well, they could be though. I think you could be in a perfectly secure relationship, and one person still has a fear, which is just totally irrational for no good reason.
And if you're with that person for a very long time, you know how they are. And so if
and that's what I mean is like I don't think these things are done from a position of I don't trust you, right? I don't think these things are done from a position of I dislike you, or I think that you're a lady about town or a harlot of the night. I think that they're done because establishing paternity is something that men wish historically kings would have given kingdoms for this technology to be able to establish 100% who their heirs were going to be. They would have given kingdoms for it. And now it's right there at your fingertip for $19.99 in a Walmart. And it's like, give the guy a peace of mind, you know? They do it for you all the time for every little crazy thing that pops into a woman's mind, right? Whatever it may be, whatever rational fear is. Oh, I heard a noise, go check it out. Okay, I'll go check it out, even though he knows there's nothing down there. Or, oh, you know, if the car's making a noise, no, it's fine, honey, there's nothing wrong with the car. No, it's making a noise. Okay, it's fine, don't worry about it. There's so many times where men are kind of, operating off of taking care of the fear and irrational fears of women, and yet somehow they're supposed to kind of, women are supposed to get a pass on when it's their turn to kind of operate the same way towards men, and I've always thought that was absurd. Just, my take on it.